everyone, welcome to our next GCSE biology video, and today we're looking at the excretion system, in particular in humans, which involves the kidneys, also known as the urinary system. So what does the urinary system actually do? It filters blood, so it removes products from the blood that we don't need, and using that it forms urine as a waste byproduct, which we then excrete. So what structures, what organs are involved in the urinary system? You've got your two kidneys, your left kidney and your right kidney. It's important to know that the blood supply is the renal artery, the left renal artery and the right renal artery, and the veins that carry blood away from the kidney are known as the renal veins, left and right. Like I said, the kidneys form urine, and that urine is transported to the bladder by the two ureters, and it's then excreted. Urine, the main substances are water, urea, and salts. So zooming in a bit, we're looking now at the structure of the kidney itself. So imagine you're taking a cross section of the kidney, and this is what it looks like. You've got your renal pelvis, which leads into the ureter. You've got your renal artery and your renal vein as your blood supply. And the inner part of the kidney is called the medulla, whilst the outer part is the cortex. And within the medulla, you've got these tiny structures known as nephrons, which we'll come to in a bit. So how about an overview of what the kidneys actually do, what they're in charge of? So they filter, and by filtration, we mean the kidneys remove glucose, water, salt, and urea from the blood. But they also do something called reabsorption, which is basically where some of these substances are reabsorbed back into the blood, so they're not excreted. For example, no glucose is excreted, so 100% of the glucose is reabsorbed, whilst 100% of the urea is excreted. It's a bit more complicated with other things like water and salt, which we'll come into. So how does the kidney do this? Like I said, it's complicated. And that's why we've got these tiny, tiny structures known as nephrons, and there's millions of them in each kidney. And what we're drawing here is a small diagram which gives you a little bit of an idea of what each nephron looks like. So you've got your afferent arteriole, which carries blood into the nephron, and efferent arteriole, which carries it away, which I'm drawing in red there. And between those two arterioles, you've got a board of capillaries known as the glomerulus. And the glomerulus sits in the Bowman's capsule. After the Bowman's capsule, we've got the part of the nephron that looks a bit squiggly is the proximal convoluted tubule, followed by the loop of Henle, which is a descending limb and an ascending limb. Then you've got your distal convoluted tubule, and finally your collecting duct, which leads to the renal pelvis and the ureter. So this whole structure is what is forming your urine. Your urine comes out of that ureter. So what's the first step in forming your urine? In the glomerulus, you've got high pressures which cause ultrafiltration. So if you can see those little yellow arrows that are about to appear on screen, that's showing the movement, the ultrafiltration of small molecules like glucose, water, salt, and ions, and urea from the blood and into the actual structure of the nephron. It's important to note that no proteins and no cells are going to be filtered through. So like I mentioned earlier, hopefully you would remember that no glucose gets in your urine. So that's where your proximal convoluted tubule comes in, because it reabsorbs the glucose back into the blood. Finally, you've got your collecting duct, and that's where water comes in. So this is where you get selective reabsorption of water. So how much water is reabsorbed though? That's where ADH comes in, and ADH is also known as antidiuretic hormone. So firstly, you've got your hypothalamus in your brain, which detects the concentration of your blood plasma. If it detects that you've got too little water in your blood plasma, obviously it needs some way of telling your kidneys, hang on, we need more water. We need more water in our blood. So what it does is it signals to the pituitary gland to release ADH. ADH in turn acts on the kidneys and causes more water to be reabsorbed, aka more water to leave the collecting duct and be reabsorbed back into the blood. So it's not formed in the urine. So because there's less water in the urine, your urine is going to be more concentrated. And vice versa is true when you have too much water. Your hypothalamus tells your pituitary gland, which causes less release of ADH, which in turn tells your kidney to not reabsorb as much water, aka to get rid of that water, to excrete it. And that's why your urine is more dilute, because you're trying to preserve that water. Not preserve, you're trying to make it go. But yeah, thank you for watching.